Major League Baseball draft starts on Monday.
Yeah.
On Sunday. It will trickle over. I'm doing great. On Monday and Tuesday as well. But first round, the Texas Rangers have the number 4 pick on Sunday. Is how in are you on the Major League Baseball draft for our listeners as well? And then how we feeling about this pick?
Well, I think it's a little bit for Ranger fans. It could be less interested because you're so good at baseball this year. You're not so concerned about who's going to go number 3 or number 2, right? The Rangers have gone 2, 3, and 4 now. And this one, last year they did have the 7th worst record, but through the lottery system, they moved up to number 4. I think you should be very interested in this because you are adding immediately a top 100 prospect in baseball as long as you take a guy that's slotted to be a top 5 pick, because you can. There's rumors about Pittsburgh at number 1 going with the guy who's going to take $1 million less than the slot. And so what you do is you call up kind of the top 5 guys. They've done this with Henry Davis, who's up in the major leagues right now with Pittsburgh.
Just saw the Rangers do it.
Right, the Rangers did with Kumar Rocker. He took $3 million less at number 3. So the Rangers took a guy who was probably not going to go top 10 and took him number 3 because they had worked out a deal. I think it's never been confirmed, but I've talked to scouts and other people that they've been like, yeah, we had to take Brock Porter off the board at 15 because he demanded $4 million or he was going to go to college. And then all of a sudden in the 4th round, the Rangers drafted him because Scott Boras was his agent. Scott Boras was Kumar Rocker's agent. They worked out a 2-for-1 deal with pick 1 and their 4th round pick, or the 3rd overall pick. And the 4th round pick. So you never know. An MLB draft is a lot different than an NFL or an NBA draft. But there are really, really good players at the top of this draft. And the Rangers should get either a great outfield prospect or the best pitching prospect most people are saying since Garrett Cole.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question before we get into the specifics of the names, because I am excited about Paul Skenes, of course. Does this sound like a good haul thus far for the Rangers? Like, you look back, this is a historically bad run for them.
Okay.
So this is the 3rd straight year they've had a top 5 pick. In 6th straight year, they've had a top 15 pick.
Okay.
What you've seen at the big league level, now I realize for like Rocker, it was never going to happen this fast. Leiter has been somewhat disappointing thus far. We keep waiting on Foscue. You have Josh Young, all right? And Josh Young has come on like a house of fire this year. If not for that, do you look at the group of Young, Foscue, Leiter, Rocker, and think, this is underwhelming thus far? Or is that still unfair this early?
It's a little unfair, but it has been underwhelming.
Rocker got hurt. Leiter's underperforming.
Right. And Rocker isn't going to pitch next year.
Sure.
So you look at in 2025, he'll restart his journey on trying to become a major leaguer. So you're looking at Rocker kind of at 27-ish years old, 26, start to make an impact possibly with the Texas Rangers. And because of the injury, because of the Mets situation, he probably will not have any trade value until he makes the major leagues.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like Cole Reagans ran out of trade value until he came back, pitched, made the major leagues, and then he had trade value to get you Aroldis Chapman. And so that will be a little bit of Kumar Rocker. Not saying the Rangers will trade him, but they have to develop him. They have to get him off of this Tommy John surgery, get him developed back, show that he can pitch at a minor league level at a high value, then pitch a little bit in the major leagues, and either he stays with you and is a major league pitcher for you, or you use him like you used Cole Reagans to get something that helps you. Jack Leiter, I'm struggling to why he's struggling so much. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not watching him pitch every day, but
this last month was rough.
He's just struggling to throw strikes. And that is an issue at a AA level, but he's only 23. Josh Young just is showing a really nice career at 25 years old for the Rangers. So if you take that, Jack pitches the rest of this year at 23. He pitches next year in the minor leagues at 24 if he's still with the Texas Rangers. And then maybe at 25 years old, he is really ready to contribute to your major league team. So that does put a little bit of a damper on what you've done so far. But non-first round pick, Evan Carter, is now a top 10 prospect in all of baseball, right? So Justin Foscue was your number one pick that year. He's doing fine, but he's not trending in a way you need to trend. But Evan Carter is.
Yeah, and that's part of the same draft, so same draft class.
Brock Porter's doing really good. I haven't looked him up lately, but he was off to a really great start in the minor leagues. Kumar Rocker got hurt. So you can look at that draft going, you're 2 for 1. Brock Porter is showing signs of being a premium prospect.
So for the 817, we get never draft a high school player. My question is going to be twofold because, by the way, I definitely think they're interested in drafting a high school player, perhaps Jenkins. Is Young, Foscue, Leiter, Rocker. Last 4 first-round selections, college players. Have we seen a trend in Rangers history, or it just varies so much year by year that just the board might just fall where they're like, all right, Jenkins it is?
I think it varies year by year, and through your successes and failures, it changes your mind. And I think if you go back before that, if you go to Cole Winn, go to Bubba Thompson, and you go back a little bit further, I think they were into a lot of high school players. Obviously, Cole Reagans was a first-round high school pick. Cole Winn, a high school first-round pick. Bubba Thompson, a high school first-round pick. If you start looking at those drafts, you'll see a lot of high school players. Well, that didn't work out, right? I mean, and so what did they do? They transitioned to, let's go for the more for sure thing. Let's go to guys that played 3 years at major colleges, and let's go there. And so they've done that recently. Has that worked out? Maybe a little too early to tell, but they've taken Foscue, the Vandy boys. What are they going to do here? And obviously taking Josh Young. We cannot forget Josh Young. They took an 8th overall pick that some people thought was a little bit overdrafted. Going into the draft, Josh Young was not considered one of the 10 best players in that draft. The Rangers felt that he was. They took him at 8, and it's worked out tremendously well.
Yeah.
I look at this one, and you talk about Walker Jenkins. He's from North Carolina, high school kid. I do think that is somewhat a dream scenario for the Texas Rangers. If he falls to 4, I think their dreams have come true of Walker Jenkins is there.
Which is interesting because at best, he's the 4th prospect, right?
On most, like, when you go to what I'm on right now, what website am I on here? I'm on the Sporting News, and they have Walker Jenkins as number 4. Some have him as number 5. I want to say I saw Perfect Game, who does a lot of the high school stuff. I mean, tons of the high school stuff. I believe they had him rated 5, and Max Clark, the other high school stud outfielder, as number 4. But he is in the top 5 in most rankings.
And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be up there. That's just fascinating to me that that's a dream scenario when at best he's ranked 4th.
Right.
Like I could see,
but the Rangers might not have him ranked that low.
That is true. That's a great point because like Paul Skenes as your dream scenario makes more sense to me. Is that your dream selection?
Yes.
And do we trust the Rangers to develop pitching?
That's a good question.
I do not. I will just say, I'm asking you the question, Mike. I'll just give you my opinion. I do not. I've been
based off of Cole Winn and Jack Leiter.
Yes. And to anybody else that you want to throw that's come through the pipeline in about 10 years, I have had a lot of issues with this development and our staff of developers. I don't think they've done a great job pitching wise.
I mean, you're stating what they've done in the minor leagues or what they have done in their major league career over the last decade of taking high ranking pitching prospects. It has not gone well for the Texas Rangers. You look at in the same draft that you took Cole Winn, there's a guy named Shane McClanahan that the Tampa Bay Rays took at 31. Shane McClanahan was the starting all-star pitcher last year. He's the lead candidate to win the Cy Young this year right now. And so when you look at stuff like that, you can go, gosh, how come Tampa, when they take a guy, it seems to work out? How come when the Dodgers take a guy, it seems to work out? In the same year, now they weren't drafted very close together. Dylan Tate is taken 4th overall. And look, he's had obviously his injuries now, but I say the kid from Vanderbilt.
Rocker.
No, for the LA Dodgers, he has Tommy John surgery. Walker Buehler. He was taken that year that Dylan Tate was taken. So you just start looking at stuff like that. You go, gosh, like how did the Dodgers know, or, you know, did they know? But, you know, how come in their first round pick, they take the kid from Vanderbilt super stud until he blows out his arm here in the major leagues. And you took Dylan Tate, who's struggled to stay a major leaguer in bullpens. So this year in the draft, though, just so to give you an idea, and they are ranked differently on different websites, but here I am on the Sporting News, who did their rankings this morning. They still have Dylan Cruz, the center fielder for LSU, number 1.
Okay.
It is sounding like, I don't know this, but it is sounding like, as we are really close to draft night on Sunday, that the Pirates are trying to find a discounted player, and I don't think Dylan Cruz is going to take the discount. Okay. Number 2, Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes, 100%, I know is not taking a discount. Now, I believe picking at number 2 is Washington. Do I have that right? And then is Detroit 3? I'm trying to find a mock draft quickly so I have the teams picking. I know Pittsburgh's picking 1.
You got it.
At number 2, I know a LSU player will be taken.
Okay.
I know. What they're saying is they're going to take the best of the 2 that's available.
Okay.
I don't know unless this has changed. They have Cruz 1 and Skenes 2 on Washington's board. And they are like, we're going to be happy with either one. But if Pittsburgh plays the role of we're not taking the best player at 1, we're taking a guy who's willing to go number 1 to take like $1.5 million discount, which could be Max Clark, could be Walker Jenkins, could be why am I drawing a blank on it? Because I had to click on another website. Langford.
Wyatt Langford.
Yes, Langford of Florida, who we just saw. Like, the power that Langford has as an outfielder is tremendous when you watched him in the College World Series for Florida.
I thought this was really interesting from Kiley McDaniel, went back down his prospect list. But more importantly than that, check this out. You talked about you immediately have like a top-rated minor league prospect. Kiley McDaniel said usually the number 1 pick sits around 20 to 30 in the immediately released minor league prospect rankings. This is where he'll put the top, or those 3 people. Langford will go 9th, Cruz 10th, and Skenes 13th. So, like,
wow,
those are 3 potential
top 20 prospects immediately.
And they are legit number 1 draft picks.
And so I really want Pittsburgh to get cheap here. If they can get cheap, then that means an LSU player, most likely, I think, will be Cruz, will fall to 2 to Washington. Yep. Bam, they take him. Now, maybe they've changed their mind over. I'll tell you what, when you watch Skenes pitch in the College World Series and the regional finals, I don't know how you don't take him number 1 overall, but it looks like Pittsburgh is leaning in a different direction. Washington, I think, likes Cruz over Skenes. I'll find out a little bit more tomorrow when I'm in Washington, and I'll talk to some of the people that I know that will know Washington's board maybe better than national people. When I say better than the people who write, not Washington national people. That got a little bit confusing there. But Langford is number 3. Dude, if you end up with Langford, who's dropping bombs left and right in the College World Series, you know how excited you should be as a Rangers fan? Because Evan Carter looks like an all-around guy, but I don't know if Evan Carter is ever going to pop 30 home runs or more. He looks like a guy who might bat 300 with a 400 on-base percentage and hit 20 to 25 home runs. That's great. But Langford looks like a guy, the power that I saw at 21 years old at Florida, he looks like a guy who might be able to hit 40 home runs a year. Now, he has to develop and see what he does in the minors, but he looks like a 40 home run possibility guy.
Let's use Langford as an example. What is going to be your frustration level if you could throw Skenes or Cruz in there as well? But one of those, the big 3, are there at pick 4, and
all it takes is one high school kid to go.
Exactly. And the Rangers say our high school guy is still on the board. Let's say Max Clark is the high school kid who goes off the board. So Walker Jenkins is there, and one of the big 3 is there, and they take Jenkins.
I'll be still pumped up. I'm just going to read this real quick. This is from Sporting News this morning. The case for Walker Jenkins, and this is about him going number 1. Okay, and he's ranked as their 4th guy. If everything clicks, which they're not saying this, but at 18 years old, it's a little bit tougher to project. If everything clicks, there isn't an average or even a below average tool in his toolbox. Jenkins is an advanced prep bat with plenty of power already from the left side of the plate. There is a chance that as Jenkins develops, he loses some of his speed, though it figures to still remain an above average skill for him. Jenkins' defensive home will either be in center or in right. And if he is forced to move to the corner, his mobility and arm strength could make him a top-tier defender out there.
And Kylie McDaniel said he'll rank 21st on minor league prospect list, which I told you is kind of in the realm of where the number one pick can go. Best combo hit prep since Bobby Witt Jr. Now, I know that is concerning a little bit, but that was a hell of a prospect.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, Bobby Witt right now projected 25 home runs, 50 stolen bases. His batting average is going to be 245, 250. His OPS is going to be in the low 700s, mid 700s. But if you tell me, hey, you know what? 4 years from now, you're going to have a guy who steals 50 bases and hits 25 home runs in your lineup. Well, good. We're not the Kansas City Royals. We actually have Major League Baseball players on our team. So we can bat Walker Jenkins 7th in our lineup and have him develop more for the Kansas City Royals. Like, hey, can you be Mike Trout now? Because we suck. And so that's the issue with Bobby Witt Jr. is he's kind of forced to bat first, second, or third in the lineup where, look at his numbers. He probably should be batting 6th or 7th, maybe even 9th because of his speed, right? You could have like another leadoff hitter, bat him late in the lineup, and then have the top of your lineup with, like, if you had Simeon and Seager, like, knock in Bobby Witt. Guess what? He's going to score easy from second base. He's going to score pretty easy from first base on extra base hits. But unfortunately, they're so bad that it doesn't matter.